So in this video, we are going to solve some problems from exercise 3.2 of chapter number 3, coordinate geometry. So let's first read what is the problem number 1. Write the answer of each of the following questions. So we are given 3 questions and we have to write the answers to them. Now these questions are basically testing our the knowledge of terms and terminologies which are related to coordinate geometry. So let's read them one by one. What is the name of horizontal and the vertical lines drawn to determine the position of any point in the Cartesian plane? Okay, so we know, yes, so we know that these lines are something like this. So we have a vertical line, okay, and we have this horizontal line like this. So we have these two number lines. One is this horizontal number line, which we call as x-axis. So it is like usually called as x bar and x. And this is y-axis, which is called as y and y bar. Okay. So to answer this question, what is the name of the horizontal and vertical lines? So the horizontal, yes. So the horizontal line, okay. So the horizontal line is called as the y-axis. Okay. And the vertical line is called as the, oh, I'm so sorry. The vertical line is called as the y-axis and the horizontal line is called as the x-axis. Okay, yes. So this is first one done. Now let's go to the second one. The second one reads, what is the name of each part of the plane formed by these two lines? Okay, so as you can see, these two lines, let's come down. These two lines have uh, they have cut the plane into four different parts. So what are the name of these parts? We know this is called as quadrant 1. So quadrant 1. This is called as quadrant 2. So this is quadrant 2. Then this is called as quadrant 3. So this is quadrant 3. And this is called as quadrant 4. So the naming is in a anti-clockwise direction. We start from here and we go in an anti-clockwise direction. So what is the name of each part of the plane formed by these two lines? So this part is 1, this is 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Yes, so this is also done. Now let's go to the third and last question. Write the name of the point where these two lines intersect. So as you can see, this y-axis and this x-axis, they intersect at this point. Okay, so this is the point where they intersect and it is called as origin. So I'm just going to write here origin. Okay, which has the coordinates 0, 0. Its x coordinate is also 0 and its y coordinate is also 0. So this is the name of that point. So thus we have answered all the three questions, which are just testing our basic knowledge of the different terms and terminologies that are involved when it comes to the Cartesian system of x-axis and y-axis. Okay, now let's go to the second question. So this is again exercise 3.2, question number 2. Now this is based on a Cartesian system which is already given to us. So see figure 3.14. This is our figure 3.14 and write the following. So let's see every question one by one. First, we have to write the coordinates of B. So where is point B? So yes, this is our point B. We have to write its coordinates. So the coordinates of B, as we know, it consists of x coordinate and y coordinate. So it consists of two numbers. Every point consists of two numbers in a Cartesian plane. Now, what is the x coordinate? X coordinate is a distance from y axis. So, if you, in fact, so if you consider, let's zoom in. Okay, consider this point B. When you draw two perpendiculars, one perpendicular go on x axis and one perpendicular go on y axis. So, wherever it touches the x axis, okay, let's highlight that point. Wherever it touches x axis, this point, that is the x coordinate, and wherever it touches the y axis, that point is the y coordinate. So here it touches x axis at -5, so -5 is its x coordinate, and here it touches the y coordinate, y axis at the point 2, so that is its y coordinate. Okay, the formal definition is x coordinate of any point is the perpendicular distance from the y axis. Okay, so this is the perpendicular distance from this y axis. So this distance is equal to this distance, obviously, which is -5. And the formal definition of y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from the x axis. So this is our x-axis and this is the perpendicular distance of B. So this is also of length 2. So these are the formal definitions of x coordinate and y coordinate. But for practical purposes, whenever you are solving problem and you want to quickly think about the answer and not go into the actual formal definitions, this is how you tackle, or this is how you approach. Okay, I will repeat it once again. Yes, let me just erase this. Yeah. So if you want to find out the x coordinate and the y coordinate of the point B, you draw the two perpendiculars. Okay. Wherever the perpendicular meets the x axis, that point, okay, I'll highlight the point. That point, this point, will be the x coordinate, so -5. And wherever it meets the y axis, that point, where 2, will be your y coordinate. So that's a very quick and fastest way to determine the exact x and y coordinates of any given point. Okay, so first one is done. Now second one says write the following, the coordinates of C. So we have to look at point C. Yes, so point C is down here in the fourth quadrant. This is our point C. So let's try to zoom in. So once again, point C, it will have two coordinates, x coordinate and y coordinate. How do we find the x and y coordinates? We draw perpendiculars. We draw perpendicular to x-axis, we draw perpendicular to y-axis. The point where it meets the x-axis, here in this case it's 5, so I'm just going to use a highlighter. Okay, so 5, this is where it meets it, so 5 will be the x coordinate, and the perpendicular where it meets the y-axis, it's -5, so let's highlight it, -5, that will be its y coordinate. So 5 comma -5 are the coordinates of point C. Very simple and very easy. Next, so let's tick mark this. Yes. Now the third point is, or third question is, the point identified by the coordinates -3 and -5. Okay. So let us first take this down here. Oh, sorry, we can take this one. Okay, fine. So we have to find out this -3 and -5, and we have to find out the point which has this coordinates. So -3 and -5. So once again, -3 is the x coordinate. Okay, so this is my -3, which will be on the x-axis. I'm going to use a highlighter. So this is -3 on the x coordinate and -5 on the y coordinate. So -5 is here on the y coordinate. And if you draw perpendiculars from both the lines, okay, they will intersect at this point E. Okay, so E is the point. Let's zoom in. E is the point which has -3 as x coordinate and -5 as the y coordinate. So I'm just going to write it here. That point which they are looking for is the point E, okay, which has the coordinates -3 and -5. Now, there are a few more questions based on the same diagram, so I've just put it down here. Okay, let's continue. The point identified by the coordinates 2 and -4. So once again, 2 is this one on the x-axis and -4 is this -4 on the y-axis. And what we do is we draw perpendiculars from both these sides and they will intersect at some point. So in this case, that point happens to be G, and we say that G is the point which has these coordinates. So I'm just going to mark here. That point which you are looking for is G. Okay, so fourth question is done. Now fifth question, we have to find out the apsica of the point D. Okay, so first of all, let's locate point D. Point D, point D. Where is point D? Yes, this is the point D. Now, what is apsica? This term apsica or abscissa or abscissa, I don't know. This is basically a fancy term for x coordinate. So where do I write it? Okay, I'm just going to zoom in and write it. This is basically x coordinate, a fancy term for x coordinate, and this ordinate is a fancy term for y coordinate. Y coordinate. Okay, it's just a different name for x coordinate and y coordinate. Okay, now they're asking us to find out the apsica, which means the x coordinate of the point D. So let's come to point D. Yes, this is point D. If you want to find the x coordinate of a point D, what do we do? Yes, we draw a perpendicular from point D to the x-axis, and wherever it meets the x-axis, that is the x-coordinate. So 6 is the x-coordinate of point D. Very simple. So I'm just going to write here. Okay, 6 is the answer. 6 is the x-coordinate or abscissa of point D. Next. So let's mark this done. This is done. Next is question number 6. The ordinate, which means the y-coordinate, of the point H. So once again, let's locate point H. Yes, this is my point H. I'm going to highlight it. Okay, this is the point H. Now we want to find out the y-coordinate of this point. In order to find y-coordinate, we simply draw a perpendicular to the y-axis, and wherever it meets y-axis, in this case it's -3, that is its y-coordinate. Very simple. So the answer is -3. So this is -3. Okay, done. Now next, 7th question. It reads the coordinates of point L, and I'll also read this next question. It says the coordinates of point M. So point L and point M. So let's come here. Okay, so here we have found it out. This is my point L, okay, and this is my point M. We have to find their coordinates. Okay, so again, same procedure. If you want to find the coordinate of any point, you draw what is the x. How do you find the x coordinate of a point? You draw a perpendicular to x-axis. So from this point L, I'm going to draw perpendicular to the x-axis. Where does it meet x-axis? It meets x-axis at 0. So its x coordinate is going to be 0. This is x coordinate. What about y coordinate? In order to draw y coordinate, in order to find y coordinate, from this point L, we are going to draw perpendicular to y axis. So point L lies on the y axis itself. So if you draw perpendicular to y axis, it will meet at the same point. And what is the coordinate of that same point? It is 5. So 5 becomes the y coordinate of the point L. Okay. Once again, since the point lies on the y-axis, it's a little bit tricky or confusing, but you follow the process, you follow the same protocol, and you'll get the answer. In order to find the x-coordinate of L, we draw a perpendicular, and wherever it meets the x-axis 0, that becomes the x-coordinate. In order to find the y-coordinate of point L, we draw perpendicular from point L to the y-axis. So wherever it meets y-axis, in this case 5, we write that as a y-coordinate. Okay, now same procedure has to be followed for point M. Point M has two coordinates, x and y. Okay, now in order to find the x coordinate from point M, draw perpendicular to x-axis. So where does it meet x-axis? It will meet x-axis at the same point, which is point -3. So -3 becomes its x coordinate. And what about y coordinate? In order to find y coordinate of any point, again, we draw a perpendicular from that point to the y-axis, and at y-axis it meets y-axis at this point 0. So 0 becomes the y-coordinate of this point. So if the point, as you can see, if the point is on x-axis, its y-coordinate is 0. If the point is on y-axis, then its x-coordinate is 0. So in this way, this is also done. So I'm just going to mark it done. So we have solved all the 8 different questions which were related to this, which were related to this Cartesian system that was given to us.